Hey guys, welcome back to Carib 21, wherever you're watching from, in the Caribbean or in and around the diaspora. So today I want to talk about Jamaica and Guyana. First of all, I want to talk about Guyanese independence. So in Brampton, Ontario, a few weeks ago, a Guyanese big independence celebration took place in Brampton, Ontario, celebrating the culture, the history, the independence of Guyana. So I'd like to take a look at that. And from Jamaica, so Jamaica has seen its first non-stop flight to Lisbon, Portugal, and that is a big deal. So what does this mean for Jamaica, in particular, the tourism industry? Let's talk about it. So this week, Jamaica celebrates its first flight from Montego Bay to Lisbon, Portugal. And as I said, this is a big deal. And I don't believe that this could come at a better time when we see what is going on in America with all the tariffs and just the uncertainty in the American market. And as I reported a few weeks ago or a few days ago, that travel from the US is down right across the Caribbean because people are not traveling as much because of the uncertainty of the economy. So this is a big news coming out of Jamaica that now you can fly from Montego Bay, Jamaica, straight to Portugal, and Portuguese tourists can have access to Jamaica without a connected flight, flying straight from Portugal into Jamaica. And one of the advantages about that also is that Europeans spend twice as much as Americans when they travel to the Caribbean because they stay much longer when they come to the Caribbean, and a lot of time they spend more. So this report is coming from TVJ Jamaica. So let's take a look.
Jamaica officially welcomed a new weekly non-stop flight from Lisbon, Portugal to Montego Bay. On Wednesday, the fully booked World to Fly flight landed at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James, marking a significant milestone for the tourism sector. State Minister at the Tourism Ministry, Senator Delano Seabright, explained the significance.
We're excited to welcome the arrival of World to Fly in Jamaica today. It forms part of our market diversification strategy as it relates to airlift and where we get our tourists from. Most of our tourists, as you know, are from the United States and Canada, and then, of course, to a lesser extent, the United Kingdom, and to a lesser extent, continental Europe.
The flight, carrying 360 passengers, marks a new chapter in the country's continued efforts to strengthen its presence in the European market. Senator Seabright says local stakeholders in the tourism sector have been aggressive in their approach.
That call, and they started now with a once-weekly flight between Lisbon, Portugal, and Montego Bay, Jamaica. The flight has become so successful that they are now running load factors in excess of 90%. And what they have done is to extend the service to do 18 rotations. So this is very positive news and shows that Jamaica is an attractive market for Portuguese tourists, and that's very important to us.
Okay, so that was a report coming out of Jamaica, courtesy of TVJ News. And as I said, this is a big deal. And for anyone who have watched this channel for a while, know that that's where I spend most of my time, in tourism and hospitality. And I think if you know that industry, you know how fragile that industry can be, especially in the Caribbean, because the Caribbean, pretty much 90% of our tourism product, we depend on America, as I said, about 90%. And I've seen some turbulent time within the Caribbean. In particular, one I can remember was September 11. September 11, working in the hotel in Jamaica. And for those who can remember September 11 and how the industry just went down because everyone was afraid to get on a plane. No one was traveling. Hotels were empty in Jamaica. So for Jamaica to, a time like this when Jamaica is now diversifying, we're seeing deals working out coming from the Middle East. We're seeing deals from Germany and now from Portugal. So this is a massive deal. And just to give you an idea of how dependent we are on America, let me show you some numbers. So when you look at the American numbers for 2023 or any of the year in particular, you can see that Americans travel to Jamaica at least, 5-6 times, well, more than that, at least 10 times the amount of time than Europe and the Caribbean, Asia, everywhere else combined. So Americans come more than 5 times more than Canadians. They travel. You would have to say like what 10 times more than European, Asian, and Caribbean combined. So it's a big chunk of what our tourism product is, and that is America. So to see not only Jamaica, but I've been bringing stories coming out of Grenada, out of Trinidad and Tobago, of them trying to diversify their tourism product and to get straight flights coming out of like Africa, coming out of the Middle East. So this is a big deal for Jamaica. The straight flight coming from Portugal into Montego Bay. So guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know what are your thoughts about this. And as the report stated that it's successful so far, and hopefully within the next year or two, there will be like 3 weekly flights instead of like 1 or 2 weekly flights. So let me know what your thoughts in the comment section. Next, I want to react to like a throwback video from Jamaica tourism, like that is what, over almost 40 years ago with the Concorde. When the Concorde, for anyone who remember the Concorde was before its time, the fastest airline ever made, and they had to discontinue it. I think it was too fast. So the Concorde, the first time it came to Jamaica, so I found this video and it was so interesting that almost 40 years later, the Concorde and how it was discontinued. But this clip is showing the Concorde the first time touching down in Jamaica. Let's take a look.
Jamaica, the tourist board, and the whole tourism industry, because you've seen the sort of excitement it's generated here. It's been picked up on the cameras here. It's been picked up by ABC, Wide World of Sports, a trial, been shown live to millions of American families. So that this is a tremendous way to start what's going to be the greatest season ever for Jamaica.
Carol Guntley, does this mean that we're supposed to look for a different kind of tourists this year?
I think we'll have a good mix of tourists, from those who are very well off right down to those who have less to spend. And I think for us the Concorde is a great achievement. It's added so much prestige to our island as a tourism destination, and it has been carried all over the world in the press. Air Jamaica has done a tremendous job in bringing the Concorde to Jamaica, and we appreciate it on behalf of tourism.
Are you Jamaican, sir?
Born Jamaican.
What was it like flying on the Concorde?
I tell you, I've flown just about every plane, commercial plane, but this is the best that I've seen, experienced. From here on in or here on out, it's a Concorde for me.
When you say it's the best, what are you talking about?
I mean in performance. When the man took, was it Barnett Street? He was coming in on 2 wheels.
Always make it here, Jamaica.
Glad to see you here, sir. Welcome to Jamaica.
Minister of Tourism.
Eric Williams here. Delighted to have you with us. Good.
How do you do? President of the airline.
Okay.
I'm Mr. Carol Guntley, Tourism.
How do you do? How do you do? Nice meeting you.
Welcome home.
Sure, man.
Thank you. When you go back to I'm happy to have you all
Oh,
back.
yes, absolutely.
This service is Thomas.
Yes.
I understand you're coming all the way from London and you're
Yes.
Jamaican.
Yes.
How was it flying on the Concorde?
It was beautiful. Words couldn't explain how gorgeous it was. We hope that this will be something that continues instead of...
What about you, Mr.
Oh,
Thomas?
very lovely, very lovely. I wish everybody could get a ride off it.
Is it any different serving on the Concorde as against our normal 747 or A300?
I would say absolutely it is, yes.
Can you define that absolutely for us?
Everybody is first class to begin with, whereas on the 747 it's a limited amount, right? On the Concorde, everybody's first class. It carries 100 first class passengers, and nothing is supposed to go wrong on the Concorde at any time. It must be perfect. So that's the difference.
All right, you told me you did it one way. Is that how it's going to work for you all the time?
Not always. I was on today to observe the service being done on behalf of Air Jamaica.
Okay, so those footage were from around 1984. It seemed like a million years ago. And as you can see, those footage look just vintage. And to think that like that time we had something like the Concorde was just amazing. And I remember when it landed in Jamaica, and I was very young then, but it was a big deal. People wanted to go from all over the island just to see the Concorde. So that was just like a fun throwback video. Now let's talk about Guyana. So Guyana in Brampton, Ontario, Canada, the independence celebration of Guyana was a big deal a few weeks ago, and I just wanted to bring some highlight and some footage. And one of the things that I love to do in the summer is to celebrate the Caribbean, because Caribbean culture comes alive in June, right before we have our big Caribana celebration. For those of you who know Canada, Caribana is one of the biggest carnival celebration in the entire world. I think the only one that's bigger is in Brazil. But Caribana, it's not as fun as Trinidad and Tobago from what I've heard, but in terms of the amount of people that comes into Toronto for that weekend, for Caribana weekend, it's like over 1 million people in the city just for that weekend. So let's take a look at celebration of Guyanese independence.
Happy Guyanese Independence Day, Brampton. And in honor of the event, I got a special shirt today, see? Here we go. I love Guyana. Part of the beauty of Brampton is we're a mosaic of the world. And similar to Guyana, where you've got different faiths, different cultures, they come together in a beautiful manner. And I really believe that Canada and Brampton at our best is when we celebrate each other. I think the best way to create a city and a country that is connected is we learn about each other's backgrounds. And today in Brampton, we're all Guyanese. We're honored today to have the Consul General, Manny Singh, with us.
On behalf of His Excellency, President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, the government and people of the Republic of Guyana, Guyanese in the diaspora, especially you in Brampton, and all the friends of Guyana, heartfelt thank you for hosting this day in tribute to us Guyanese. God bless you all.
Wherever I look in Brampton, I see examples of the Guyanese culture. And boy, is it a beautiful culture. I've learned going through Guyanese events, the music, the entertainment, friendliness. When you want to have fun, you go to a Guyanese party.
Yes, so those were just a few footage coming out of Brampton, Ontario, the celebration of Guyanese culture, Guyanese independence. And in the summer, for anyone who knows Canada, for anyone who knows Toronto, Ontario, for the summer months, 3 months, almost 4 months, we have street festivals, celebration like crazy. I would say up to 1,000 street celebration across the province of Ontario for those 3 months. So everywhere you go, the streets are blocked. And Caribbean culture is a big part of that. So this year, I'm going to go on the road and I'm going to show all the cultures, from the Little Jamaica Festival, for the Trinidad Day Festival, Guyanese Festival, Afro-Caribbean Festival. There's just so much of the culture of Canada that Caribbean, that we are part of, that our culture in the Caribbean has left a mark on Canada. Like we are like the Scotch bonnet pepper in the flavor of Canada. We add flavor to the culture. So I'm going to be going out this year for the summer, similar to what I did last year when I went out and showed some of those fun festivals. So stay tuned for that. For the month of June, July, and August, I'll be like exploring Caribbean food, Caribbean culture, and our contribution to this beautiful place called Canada. So guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.